Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Ich warte seit Wochen auf diesen Tag und tanz vor Freude über den Asphalt. Als wär's ein Rhythmus, als gäb's ein Lied, das mich immer weiter durch die Straßen zieht. Komm dir entgegen.
Hello and welcome to Gegenpressing, the Bundesliga podcast. I'm Manu. This is Stefan Bienkowski. Stefan, first of all, how's it going? I suppose it's the end of the day and week for you, so you must be doing pretty good.
Yeah, well, not quite the end of the week just yet. I've got Friday to come. But yeah, I'm doing okay, buddy. Lots going on in the world of football. There's also some commotion behind my house right now. There's a field which is often used for a pony club, which I know sounds like the most wholesome thing in the world, but if you can hear any background noise, I apologise. Sometimes I wake up and look out my upstairs window and it looks the Grand National has suddenly appeared behind my house. But I guess these are just occupational hazards when you move to the countryside. But yeah, so apologies if people can hear horses neighing or children laughing or whatever else in the background. Yeah, just a prior warning.
Well, having just come back from Kentucky, I can tell you horses. I feel like I'm an expert in horses now, Stefan. And horse racing and everything that comes with it. But yeah, it is almost the end of the week. We're capping up the gegenpressing side of things this week with something that we promised to do 2 weeks ago, and then circumstances meant there were some changes. We have already named our team of the week, team of the season, not week. Oh, Jesus. It is getting there, Stefan. It's getting there. Anyways, what we're going to do today is our managers of the season, Bundesliga season. And I think the best way to structure this show is we've come up with a list of 4 names and to go through these names, and then I think you and I are each going to pick one at the end. And of course, you guys are more than happily can disagree with us in the chat on Substack, or wherever else you consume this podcast. I guess that's the only way to consume it. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm obviously exhausted. It's been a long week. So let's jump right into this. Stefan, both of us basically agreed on these 4 names. And the first name that we want to talk about here is Christian Streich. And I think he's like an easy pick for manager of the year pretty much every season. Freiburg managed to stay in the Bundesliga. And in particular, in a year where they finished in the top 6. In fact, they finished 5th, right? Reached the semi-final of the German Cup. Played a really, really strong role in the Europa League as well. I think we have to underline that too. Some numbers here as well. 34 games played, 17 wins, 8 draws, 9 losses. That's 59 points, or points per match average of 1.74. If you take the other factor in other competitions as well, it's actually a 1.81 points per match average this season. Streich has been doing this now for a very long time, and it's just so very consistent. And I think this year in particular has been very impressive for him and Freiburg, Stefan.
Yeah, if you kind of look at Freiburg's kind of league standing over the last 20 years, the points totals, where they finished in the league, there's a clear line where Streich took over and, where he's established them, or re-established them, shall we say, as a Bundesliga club. And more or less, the trend has been ticking upwards since, 2017-18, really. I know they kind of made a quite dip in 2020-21 when they dropped into 10th, but this season they finished 5th, which is their joint highest ever. with, how they did in 2013, but it's their highest points tally in the last 20 years as well. And, maybe that's not huge consolation to fans who spent most of the season or most of the second half of the season kind of dreaming of Champions League football. They just about miss out on that. But to finish that high in the Bundesliga, to finish with those points total, those points, all while really giving a good go of it in Europa League and, the German Cup, is really quite something. And I think the thing that maybe, anyone who listens to the show probably already knows what Christian Streich has done at Freiburg for a number of times, for years now. But I think even just kind of like, if you kind of look at the players that came in and left this season, it does a good job of showing kind of where his expertise lie. And I think you can maybe kind of just take a look at, for example, the manner in which they sold Nico Schlotterbeck for 20 million euros, and then they bring in Matthias Ginter for free. And, I don't think there's any doubt that while Nico Schlotterbeck might go on to become a better player than Matthias Ginter in time, the manner in which Streich was able to get Ginter playing back to his best, looking like a kind of very dependable German international, and ultimately a player who we both put in our team of the seasons, while Schlotterbeck moves club, moves to a different team, plays a different system, and things begin to fall apart very quickly. I think that's probably a good example of where Streich really kind of thrives. This Freiburg team have gone through constant iterations, constant rebuilds. They're a club that are constantly having to deal with players leaving, either through big deals or just simply out of free transfers. But the key thing is that Streich's able to kind of rebuild squads every year, and he's able to get good players to play well for him. And I think this season was a perfect example of that. And maybe Matthias Ginter is a perfect example of that on an individual level as well.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.